we're living in times that are a bit complicated, especially when it comes to the whole subject of marriage, and relationships, and things as such. Things as such. Considering everything that's going on with this whole Shannon Sharpe situation, that entire situation is being treated as though it's something brand new, but it's not. There's a lot of people out here that are trying to paint this as a color issue when we as black men, we catch the same type of hell that Shannon Sharpe is catching. It really doesn't matter if the woman is white or black. We catch it. And what I've come to say a whole lot is single is peaceful. And what I've come to know that from talking to a lot of brothers who have become successful in their craft, there was a time to where back in the day, they said every successful man, behind every successful man, there's a good woman or a strong woman. Myself, I've become, or in the process of becoming, very successful in my craft with writing, of course, stock market. I'm getting ready to move into more real estate. And I've produced all of that alone, by myself. So I've come to understand that a whole lot of the failures that a whole lot of brothers are experiencing today is because of the presence of women, and therefore the quote unquote wrong women that are in their corner. And it's becoming such a problem finding these women who are perceived as good. It's gotten to the point to where a whole lot of us men have chosen for the rest of our lives to remain single and free, and therefore productive. Now, as some people going into this video, they would perceive, oh, he's getting ready to start bashing women. No, not at all. I say that is because in spite of what this young lady is doing to Shannon Sharpe and men as himself who have suffered this type of issue. Every man upon the planet is responsible for his conscious decisions, which are based upon the drives of his own flesh. Coming from a man who used to date 9 different women, as a couple of my previous videos had said when I was out here driving the bus, who had a sex addiction, you might as well say it was a sex addiction. A man who was dating 9 different women, that is an abnormal practice for any man. Now, in our community, as I was coming up in Chicago, that would be considered a man who is a player, because when I was coming up, men who carried themselves as such were considered players. They were looked up, they were looked up to simply because they had, a lot of sexual relationships with a whole lot of women. They were looked up to. However, as I said in one of my previous videos, I had came to a very brutal awakening when there was a couple of young men on my bus who were observing me for a time, who I had came to know, who were looking at me, saying that I was the man and all of that. They were looking up to me. And I had no idea that these young men were looking up to me when I had, not too long before this transpired, I came to realize that I was a sick man, morally sick, because the life that I was living was a very immoral life, in spite of the various women that I was dating, the various women that I was sleeping with. See, the issue with people today, they focus primarily too much on sex and the amount of women that are being manipulated to be willing to allow men to play in their wombs. So you're dealing with women who are immoral as well. So you have two people who are in this movement of immorality. You have the young lady on who is doing her thing online, and you have Shannon Sharpe. And I hear a lot of people blaming her, but the primary blame should be on Shannon Sharpe for not being able to control his lust and his passions, and him coming into being somewhat successful also fed into it, and it had him thinking that he can just pretty much just do whatever the hell he wants to. And when you compromise your moral standards simply because you've accumulated some wealth, you pretty much destroy yourself. You know how the word says, what does it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his own soul? And this is what's happening with him. But a lot of us is trying to make this a race issue. It's not a race issue. It's a moral issue. She's doing what she's doing, and he's doing what he's doing. So it's not a black and white issue. It's not even an age issue. You know how people say, well, he's 52 years old and he's messing around with a 19-year-old or 20-year-old. It's still a moral issue. And when you compromise your moral standards, you mess up. And does it matter if he had a $100 million contract that he was getting ready to sign just 2 days before this happened? What came in between that? Did she come in between that? No. He came in between it because he compromised his moral standards. It's called self-destruction. He destroyed himself. He had a promising podcast. I don't need to tell you about that because you know. The point is, when we compromise our moral standards, everything falls apart. When the Creator opens up avenues for you to become successful, that is not the time for you to become arrogant and to lose yourself. That is the time of where humility should naturally become the factor of your being. You know the saying, what goes up must come down. Not necessarily. So we're talking about this pyramid. Here's a man or a woman going up on one side of the pyramid, and they reach the apex to the top. And once you've reached the apex, this is one of the reasons why one must know themselves. I spoke to Spike Lee on the phone years ago, and he was telling me, Dave, when it comes to a whole lot of these celebrities, one of the primary reasons why a whole lot of them crash is because they fail to know when enough is enough. Think about that. You hear that saying all the time. It's become a very common platitude. Enough is enough. But you should really focus on what that actually means. That has everything to do with the person who is accumulating success and therefore wealth. You have to have a number to where you can look at your success and say, okay, I have enough. I don't need to go any further, even though financial, even though you're going to continue to accumulate wealth because you're still involved in your craft. But you still have to get to that point to where you say, if I don't go any further than this, I'm still fine. And that's where humility sets in. So when you go up and you reach the top of that pyramid, I'm just using the pyramid as an illustration. And you get to the top. If humility is not present in you, and if you try to go further, greed, ambition, then you must come down. Because after you reach your apex and you try to go further, there's only one way to go, and that's down. So what are you saying? As I said before, every human being should have a certain status in life to where they are able to say, okay, I've made it individually. My own personal perception, I have enough. So even though I'm still going to accumulate some wealth, even more wealth, I still have enough. If I never accumulate any more wealth, I still have enough. And if humility is not present, you're going to try to go higher. And those who don't know themselves or have a specific level that they're willing to say, I've had enough, and they don't reach that status of humility, those are the ones that are eventually going to fall. I use this because Shannon Sharpe is a young man. He's coming up in life and success. However, he was not able to control his organism in terms of being lustful, aggressive, controlling. He put so much control out there, he forgot about controlling himself. And that's how he failed. Now, a lot of people may say, well, this girl ain't no good. She's just an OnlyFans, a model or prostitute. You can call her whatever you want to, but she's not responsible for Shannon Sharpe's fall. Shannon Sharpe is responsible for his own fall. He failed himself. Was it because she was a younger lady? A lot of people think that. Shannon Sharpe failed himself. That's what it all boils down to. Sister Monique, she warned him. Cat Williams, he warned him. It only implies that a lot of people was observing his activity, and therefore his behavior revealed that his preference was for younger women. So maybe they felt like he was out of control. Maybe they felt like, as Auntie Monique has said, you need to get you someone in your age range. Some people say, well, you know how white women are. These young white girls, they're going to do this, they're going to do that. With all of those factors being mentioned, and those factors being very understandable, every man upon the planet is still responsible for the control of self. That's what it all boils down to. It all boils down to self-control. And if you don't have self-control, then you're only going to invite upon yourself self-destruction. That's what's going to happen. Whether you're male or female. But I'm talking about my brothers. I'm talking about the males. Understand the vitality of self-control when it comes to this organism. Because if you don't maintain or get and be able to maintain self-control over this organism, it means this organism is going to control you. And you're going to find yourself in places that are going to be extremely unpleasant. Control yourself. Because you have people out here who know your worth, who know that you're out of control. And they will tempt you even further because they know that they're able to control you because you lack self-control. And due to the fact that you have no self-control, they're able to control you by way of knowing what is controlling you by way of your lust and your so-called power. Because the moment a man feels as though he's powerful, what he fails to realize, he's showing the greatest form of weakness. Because he's not utilizing self-control. He's not utilizing his own intelligence. And he really doesn't respect the blessings that the Creator has bestowed upon him. He's using those blessings in order to control people while at the same time losing self-control. So the Creator blesses you with success, and due to the fact that you lack self-control, you yourself turn those blessings into a curse. And you are not in the position to blame no one but self. Self. As I said in another video, what the elders used to tell us, while you're pointing your finger at someone else or everyone else, there's three fingers pointing at you. It is very vital for us to understand that the challenge is never the external in terms of other people and what they say and do at us. The challenge will forever be ourselves. The moment that you think that you're controlling other human beings, you're losing control, because something is controlling you, influencing you to think that you are able or empowered to control others. You've already lost control the moment that you think that you are in control of others, because something is controlling you in order for you to perceive in your mind that you have the power to control other human beings. You've already lost control, even with that thought process. So a lot of people are saying it's a shame how people have turned on Shannon Sharpe. I would say people are disappointed in Shannon Sharpe because of his success. He messed up a perfectly good platform for a whole lot of people to come on and totally express themselves. And if you notice, especially in our community, every time something happens or someone comes along that is in the position to help our community express themselves or to teach our community about issues that are affecting our community based upon human relationship and other areas of where we need help, something always transpires. That person either gets killed, that person either gets dies, like brother Kevin Samuels, rest in peace, or look at what happened with Shannon Sharpe in terms of Shay, that podcast. That podcast was very valuable. However, the only person who did not think that podcast was in fact valuable and vital to our community was the one who produced the podcast. So you're looking at a man who became very irresponsible because he lost control over his organism, his flesh. So this is why I say the people in the community, to my perception, are not tearing him down. They are not attacking him. We are greatly disappointed in him because he lost control of himself. I'm hoping that all of this is resolved, not only for him, but even for the young lady. Maybe this whole event will exploit her and shame her to the degree to where she stops doing what she's doing. However, Shannon Sharpe, brother, you have to understand the importance of controlling oneself. It's not the people outside of ourselves that is the challenge. Big bro, the challenge will forever be ourselves. It will forever be ourselves.